Anyone that knows me will attest to my fascination with dates. As soon as I start a new bottle or roll of something, ketchup, saran wrap, my under-eye cream, I write the date in permanent marker on the bottom. As I write, I always wonder what my life will be like when the bottle is empty. What will be happening on the day when the hot sauce is gone? Who will I be when the mustard runs out? My shampoo bottle 3 years ago had a start date of October 7th. I remember this because it was exactly 2 months from my due date with Hank. I'd use that shampoo and I'd engage in some deep shower contemplation. Soon I'd have a new baby who would force me to shower in a hurry, if he let me shower at all. Maybe I'd even be rinsing spit up or baby food out of my hair when the bottle was done. I did know one thing for sure though, I'd be a mom. After years of infertility and a miscarriage, I'd be a mom. That shampoo bottle did eventually run out, but there was no baby around to cut my shower short. Just a week later, on October 15th, I was showering because I was to be admitted to the hospital in a few hours to deliver my baby. The words, "I'm so sorry, there's no heartbeat," were echoing in my head from earlier that morning when I had learned from my beloved obstetrician that my son had died in utero. During that shower, as I used that shampoo bottle that I once naively thought would usher me into motherhood, I wondered if I was going to come out of the hospital alive. I wasn't sure I could survive what was up ahead. The thought of having to physically and mentally go through labor and delivery the entire time knowing that I'm giving birth to death was the most terrifying thing I could imagine. I had begged and pleaded with my doctor that morning for a C-section to please just knock me out, remove my son, make this all go away. That wasn't an option, he said gently as I wept in his office while cradling my belly. So here I was, mentally preparing as best I could to accept that my baby had died and now needed to be born. I also thought about how I made it past the milestones in a pregnancy. I was into my 3rd trimester and was eagerly counting down the days. I was well past the point of viability. The tiny little clothes were folded and a crib was assembled. A blue snowsuit with bare ears on the hood was already waiting in the coat closet, and a framed ultrasound picture sat with pride on our coffee table. This wasn't supposed to happen. October 15th should have been a day where I waddled into work, relived the oohing and eyeing over gifts I had received at my baby shower just the day before, and maybe indulged a pregnancy craving or two. I was not supposed to have learned that my son would be stillborn. Later that evening, we went to the hospital, and after 15 hours of various failed attempts to start and progress labor, we learned that Hank was in the breech position. I accepted the C-section that was finally offered to me then and broke down and sobbed for the first time since arriving. Relief and fatigue overwhelmed me to the point where I couldn't control anything anymore. I have very few memories after that. I was wheeled into the OR, a heavy dose of anesthesia was administered through my epidural, and delivery took place. My husband was with me, eyes swollen from crying about our baby and brow furrowed from worrying about his wife. I think that before my son died, he purposely flipped himself upside down because he knew I never would have survived his birth if he didn't. October 16th, 2012 is when my son was born at 5:35 p.m. I chose to not see him, a decision I do not regret. I did not want my memory of my son to be holding him without life, and I did not want to hand him off to a stranger, knowing I'd never hold him again. I wanted to remember him as I had pictured him my entire pregnancy, alive. My husband and my parents saw him and witnessed his baptism. They kissed his perfect face. The hospital sent me home a few days later, along with a small box that contained a lot of paperwork, his footprints, his little cap and blanket, and some pictures. It took me a long time to open that box and look at those pictures, And when I did, I felt calm and peaceful. He really is beautiful, I remember thinking. I remember smiling. I learned a long time ago in school that the way to make a muscle stronger is to put it through a series of tiny, controlled tears and give it time to recover. As it repairs itself, it becomes stronger, more resilient, more durable. It is able to increase functionality and capacity and output. Then the cycle starts again, and the muscle is torn, and then allowed to recover, and it eventually heals. My heart will always be in a state of recovery. It must, because it has no choice. Hank's little sister, Elise, was born healthy and crying and alive. 18 months after he was born silent and still. My heart has been torn and been allowed to heal many times, but each of those times has shaped me as a person and as a woman and as a mother. Every day my heart beats is a day it speaks to my son and his story and his brief life. Dates don't matter to me too much anymore, since every day now is a day with Elise, without Hank, and a day to share their story and mine.